It is your
Let's
hosts,
go
Robert and Charles.
fly a kite up to the highest heights. I'm pivoting my career. I'm working on my singing voice. I don't think you announced this to anyone that we're streaming right now, did you? I don't know. So people know.
I don't really announce anymore because it goes live. Like it posts on Twitter, I believe. Like if you go
So
look.
if someone noticed, wants
Yeah.
to embark and partake. So anyway,
And
welcome.
if you're one of the like 5 people that follows us on Twitch, it's scheduled for 5 p.m. on Wednesdays. We're close to that time. Like they should know.
Yeah, 3 minutes early. Ooh, we screwed up everything. Cool. Well, welcome everyone or no one to another edition of Rye Ramblings and Wrongdoings. It's more
Wrongdoing
phonetic
starts
than
with
letters.
a W, though.
Yeah, it's more
Good try.
phonetic than actual alphabets. Yeah, no,
That's
but
true.
we require no introduction, but we can just start by talking about whiskey. So we have more time to talk about other things.
Well, let's start by saying go to whiskey.fund, be a member or buy some shit there. Do something.
Can we talk about the lack of sweatshirts, though, or like warm weather or warming things in cold weather in general?
We can have some more sweatshirts.
Yeah, you just like that easily?
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't know if we have the designs for it, but I guess we could use the same designs. Just put it on
we could just give
shirt.
some options. There it is.
Wiggle.
Wiggle, because there's only one G.
Wiggle.
Wiggle. Those Pennsylvanian. I don't have a good Pennsylvanian accent, but we have the.
Is there a Pennsylvania accent?
I think there might be,
like a Philadelphia
like
accent.
Amish. I think that's different, city specific versus. I don't know. I digress. Today we're having the Wiggle Pennsylvania Straight Rye. This one's a little lighter at 84 proof. These are, when I was doing a little research, it looks like their stuff now is aged 4 years. We have a batch that was aged 2 years. I couldn't get the specifics on the mash bill, but did see it's like rye malted barley with some wheat in there for its flavoring. And that's, I guess, the gist. It is, it does have a USDA organic stamp on it, which I thought was pretty cool. They say that they source all of their grains from regional farms, and there's a certain one of the 3 they actually grow themselves. That's kind of cool. Aged in new charred oak barrels, which is very bourbon-esque. And we'll get at it.
Yeah. Can we just get everyone to stop only aging things for 2 years, though? Like, I mean, I'm not going to knock it till I try it, but things that are aged a year or 2 tend to be much worse than at least 4.
Well, bourbon is really bad because of the 51% corn. Other more grain spirits can get away with less. That's why rye is usually the first choice. Today's episode is brought to you by Norland Glasses. They are delicately beautiful and keep your whiskey at the right temperature, but provide you the wondery that is a Glencairn. So,
yes, the Glencairn is very important. I did not believe until I was educated more, but it really, like, because it doesn't hit you in the face so much, it's so much better for like tasting. Anyway,
I smell.
I digress. I think my cups are dirty because this is the second time I've smelled like a bunch of trash in mine.
Do you wash your cups?
It smells. Yes, but you know how sometimes like if the dishwasher like fucks up, it'll like.
You put these in the dishwasher?
Yeah.
Wow, you are crazy.
They
I
hold
hand wash. All right, well, good. I'm glad to hear that. I don't fuck around and find out. I hand wash them after the show. And
okay. Anyway, when you use a dishwasher sometimes and it like, I don't know, something about the water isn't quite fresh or something, and it like it gets gross. It's like you smell a cup and you're like, ew, like it's got some of that to it. So I think maybe it was my dishwasher.
Those, like, cleaning cycles and stuff. There's also a couple of things I read about a long time ago about dishwasher efficiency, and you should do 2 things beforehand. You should make sure that you run your water in the sink to be hot, so that right before turning it on, because that makes the initial rinsing cycles more effective. It's hot water from the get-go instead of working up
Interesting.
into it. And then also make sure you run the garbage disposal so that like there's nothing left over there, because when it's like, flushing out into the sink, it could pick up debris that comes back into your dishwasher. So you
Interesting.
could be getting
Yeah.
dirty food.
So we don't have that problem. This is the basement one, which is a 1980s
Oh yeah, that's just
dishwasher.
broken. That's just
Yeah.
broken. It just doesn't work. So that's an easy
Anyway.
one. All right. Well, anyway, I smelled some caramel for sure. Maybe like a slight vanilla. It smells good and very sweet to me, which is interesting for a rye. I'm going to prime the palate.
I smell a little bit of, when you get like bread, I'm trying to remember if they give it to you with bread or it's just like a cracker basket, and they have those long ones that taste like shit. Like
Yeah.
like everybody wants the like club crackers or the like yummy ones, and the long
Right, the
ones that taste
buttery
like
ones or
shit is what
something,
this
yeah.
smells like.
Interesting. Like the long ones as in sticks, like the little bread
Yeah, they're
sticks that are
sticks.
crispy. Yeah, they kind of taste like nothing.
Yeah.
It tastes like yeast or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm getting
I get
notes of that.
They're for dipping or I don't know. Yeah, I get that. It's the ones you only touch when you're like really hungry and someone's eating all the rest of the stuff. Yeah, I get that. So the flavor, I don't know. I'm going to go back into it again.
Yeah, it smelled kind of spicy. It doesn't taste spicy at all.
I definitely get lighter notes of the vanilla extract kind of like flavor. It
Oh, I
does
got some
taste
licorice.
young. Yeah, maybe a little licorice too. It does taste young.
Yeah, it's not very robust. It's like if you had a water that like a essenced water and you essenced it with a little bit of rye. It's kind of like it's not very
So,
strong. It's not very spicy.
Oh my gosh, I can't even think of the names now. Yeah, the essence, because I just buy Kirkland brand, so I'm not as dialed into the brand name.
We get Waterloo
Bubble water.
waters.
Oh, Waterloo. Yeah, those are good. Those are like nicer. They sell those at Costco too. We've gotten them a few times. If you want a little more flavor in your water, you're like, yeah, these are good. I would compare that like you have like your basic bubble water with a little thought of putting flavor into it, and you buy it, when you drink it. And then Waterloo is kind of like the high noons, So you have your like
A little more
cheap
flavorful.
drinks, and then you've got like your high noon that actually tastes like the thing it says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Waterloo is good. We get the grape ones, which is also like a flavor not that other ones don't usually have.
Yeah. Because grape is not really like a juice flavor. I mean, it's like straight sugar that they're like, white grape juice. This is just called corn syrup, essentially. Okay.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, had a couple of sips now. It is very mellow, but I was kind of to be expected, but I might have been surprised. The sweet smell up front made me think we might get into a little more on the drink. Yeah, I don't catch cinnamon. They say cinnamon caramel, black pepper. I could get notes of that, and tart cherry. Not really grabbing that for me. Yeah, if it had a little cinnamon to it, I think that would go further. Maybe as it opens up, we'll see. But I don't know. What do you think?
Well, how do I rate it? What's our scale?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Robbie's new to the show. So we have a highly complex rating scale of 0 to 8 tentacles. 0 being horrible, kill that octopi-like beast. 4, middle of the road, not bad, not great. 8, amazing, clear the shelves. You're taking a U-Haul truck right up to Pennsylvania.
It's certainly not that.
Oh, okay.
This could be the worst rye I've ever had. I think it's due to the short aging, honestly. Like it has a couple notes that seem like they could be interesting, but it's just too young and watery, and I don't know. I'm gonna give it a 2.
Interesting. Now, I think this points out the fact that we haven't had enough cheap, shitty liquor on this show to give a true like counterbalance.
That's true.
So, so I think this is around $50. I do think like if you were to go pick up like oh, what is the like? I mean, okay, for like $30, $35, I can get Baby Sazerac. I can get for like $25 Old Overholt. I can get Rittenhouse rye for again in that $25 range. It's not
Hmm.
amazing. It's got a plastic cap. It's a great mixer for all kinds of rye-based cocktails and not terrible on its own. So given those things, which are like lower shelf but pretty, decent. The baby sass, a lot of people would be like, no, that's my jam. I go to that.
Yeah.
It's flavorful. Um, and then, yeah, so given those parameters, I think this is a swing and a miss for them. Unfortunately, for me as well. That said, I do think, like, I don't know. I mean, I think the best I can give it is a 3. It's like below average in comparison. It costs too much for what it is. I'd be happy to try the 4-year and see if that does. I think the short aging doesn't benefit them in the brand new
No.
charred oak barrels either. Like, you're not picking up flavors from anything else. I'd almost say
Yeah.
just like you should have used a used barrel. Otherwise, I don't know. You're just not
Yeah. I
getting
think
anything.
it was a cash grab. I'm assuming that they were like a newer distillery trying to get something out to like get
Yeah.
money to make something else. So I don't hate the game, but like, yes, if they would like to send us the 4-year to have a better
Yeah.
rating on, please reach out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I am certain they may be listening now, and if not, they'll definitely catch the episode when it's published. And I look
Totes.
forward to trying
I hear
that.
from the folks at Weeglay all the time.
Yeah, yeah. We're big in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
We're average sized everywhere. Actually, we don't grow when we go to different states.
Yeah, no, we're big. We're big in all those places. We're equally as large in Florida as we are Pennsylvania, as we are in Arizona. So,
All right, cool.
yeah. Well, there we go with that. You want to talk about any web development?
I do. I have done some web development from time to time. Something that I have not used for web development, but is very hot right now in the everywhere sphere, is DeepSeek. Have you tried DeepSeek yet?
I haven't quite yet. Here's why. Not because I'm not curious, because I am.
Don't want to send your data to China?
Yeah, well, I mean, kind of. I don't know. I mean, I would probably sign up like in order to try it for. I mean, I only use these tools mostly in coding projects to replace Google on questions. I mean, half the time, oh, I'm stuck if I throw it in there, or give me a regex that does this thing because I don't want to like
Yeah.
go test it out first. And those things usually work, so I'm like pretty happy with that. So I would think about. I think the one time I heard about it, I looked at the repo. Thing seems pretty cool, but like let's see what shakes out in people running their own. And that's probably the use case that I'm very interested in because like if I could set up a good enough box either with a cloud provider or just at my house and then like get some things going, that might be cool. I don't know how hard it is to set up that much training data. I probably will just for fun sign up, but when I went to sign up like I don't know, less than a week ago, it was like sign up might be, we're very overrun with signups. It might take some time. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, well, it makes sense. I'll try again later.
I think it's hilarious that we like almost kind of banned TikTok, and then China's like, hold my beer. Give me
Yeah.
all of your data through AI.
I mean, yeah. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, who knows? I mean, I can ask the probably stupid question, what's the worst that can they do with it? And do they care about me as an individual? Not necessarily, but I'm sure they can build up personas and profiles of things to sell us more shit. I don't know. I don't know what the, end game is, but it also is naive to say that like only China is doing that. Like that's fine.
Oh, sure.
It's
Yeah.
fine when it's an American company, like, is it? Because they're not enriching you. It's not like we build this amazing technology. We are making America better. No, they're not. They're,
Well, I've heard that America is going to be great again, though.
hey, I hope so. I mean, really, like at this point, the votes are cast, the decisions are made, and
The shitstorm has been unleashed.
was it been like 9 days at this point? Changes are happening. What is
Yeah.
the outcomes of those changes? It's hard to say. I mean,
Yeah, we need to
say
put
I
a
have
pin
no-
in that because there's a lot of things related to that we could talk about for whatnot.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay,
continue.
Okay. Yeah, stay to the. Yeah.
So DeepSeek, yeah, I haven't tried it either, but I did read a couple articles about it. Seems to like it's a lot more efficient, which like tanked the stock market because we're spending billions of dollars and like tons of energy costs because we're like it has to use these like $30,000 Nvidia chips, and they're like, I don't know if it does. Um,
Well, I mean, is it the big con though? I mean, hey, I am not an expert at raising money for your company. I am not an expert in the stock market. I am not a successful CEO. But it does look a little weird to raise a ton of money based on the hardware you're going to need to achieve these promised goals and shift your company to a for profit in that time post raise, and then make a bunch of other moves to increase the value of your company that you are now like a massive shareholder of, that has made you a multi-billionaire X number of times over. I don't know. Maybe somebody was just like, well, that's a little bit of bullshit. We can do this, for a fraction of, and he's actually just trying to, dash out with some bags for himself. I mean, Altman was seen 6 months ago or something driving around in like a $3 million, like super rare car. Is that helping, I mean, I guess spend your money where you want, but what the fuck have you made? You made a like, you made Google searches faster. Awesome. Maybe you helped a few lawyers still keep their billable hours high without doing as much work. I don't know, like what's the
yeah.
real value being provided?
Well, I think everything is still far, like none of them provide out of the box value. Like the whole promise of like Devin is like it's a software engineer. You just use it like that. We're not there yet.
No.
Um, but it does help a lot, but it's also inconsistent. Sorry, I'm kind of pinging around. But so sometimes I'll ask things like, ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, how do I do this thing in code? And if you ask it the same thing, like without the previous context, you get different answers.
For sure.
Like, so it's not consistent. Like, I know for sure the answer. It's like, I think, based on some sort of probability, this might be close to what you want. And
Yeah,
sometimes it's spot on and sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, does that say, well, I think there's a couple of things there. I think one, it speaks to, yes, the context it's given matters because stylistically it has to provide answers kind of like based on what you provide it. There's more than one way to skin a cat in programming, right? And we know that that's the case too. But unless you specifically ask for, I don't know, create in a set this kind of data, non-replicatable field. Otherwise, if you say something more abstract, you might get a few versions to that. I think that's fair. I
well, I'm,
I have been stuck on Claude because Claude has just been much better for me for a while,
yeah,
and I'm like, I don't need to bounce back and forth.
that's the consensus that I've gotten in my limited research from looking at Reddit and various articles and things of people
And
seem to
asking
like
the three
Claude.
people,
Well, no, I didn't ask any people I know. I just looked online. But I was like looking for what's the best for programming. And it seems to be like, whether or not it's the best overall, Claude seems to be the best for programming and like getting the right answers. But yeah, the inconsistency has bit me a lot where it's like, good example. So Claude is built into Warp, which I've been using for a lot of stuff. And you just like go into your agent mode, you switch it to like, I want to ask it a question, right? So I gave it the context of here's this TypeScript error. And it was Angular Shepherd. So it was an error with Shepherd's types, which I was like, oh God, I've had to spend a lot of time on that.
God.
But so
Yeah.
I was like, fix it. And it goes like one time it goes, maybe you're missing the @types/Shepherd package. Because like a lot of things sometimes have that. And I guess maybe try the easiest thing first, right?
Yeah.
And then it somehow looked at Shepherd and went, oh, just kidding. Since version 9, types have been shipped natively with Shepherd, so you don't need the types package. I was like, dope. I'm glad that you know that. I'm not sure how you figured that out.
Yeah.
And then it
You
was
know
like,
more about
oh
this
yeah,
than I do.
it was like, oh yeah, you're using shepherd.tour to like start this, like do new shepherd.tour, but then like something about the tour type is like a little different. So you need to import this a different way and use this way. Here's the fix. Like, do you want me to commit it for you? I'm like, yeah. And like, it's like perfect. Like it did it all great. But then another time I asked it the same thing, and it was like, it was just stuck on that, like, oh, it must have a types package. I can't find it. I don't know. It's just not going to work, dog. And I was like, oh, God. So
Not
like,
this time.
yeah, it just really depends. But like, I have been impressed. Like overall, when it gets it right, I am much more impressed than like a Chat GPT getting it right.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it does get it right a number of times. It still kind of makes it worth it. But the times where it doesn't, and then you spend more time trying to like force it down the right path, or you're like, I don't know the answer, but I know it's not this, and you know, and then it does end up being a more complex task. So it's like,
Yeah.
I probably could have just figured this out myself by now.
Yeah. It is tough. One of the things I struggled with a lot with ChatGPT, I basically had ChatGPT write an entire NPM library for me for checking licenses on PNPM.
Mm-hmm.
And it got all the code, like it did everything I wanted. The problem was the unit tests. Like it needed to mock using nodes like I forget what it's called now, like finding a file, like read file sync or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like looking for that. It needed to mock like fs.read file sync or whatever. And it was not, it just wouldn't do it. It kept using the actual one when I would run the tests.
Yeah.
And I kept telling it that, and it was like, oh, you're right. Actually, you should try this, and you should try, like, I tried like 10 things. And then I went and read the like V-test docs, and it's like, actually, dog, you just do it this way now because like it's totally different. Like ChatGPT is probably just out of date. It doesn't know that this is the new way to mock it. So it's like, oh shit, okay.
Pause for a brief break to cough. I'm going through
Indeed.
another season of allergies.
This episode is sponsored by Robitussin.
It just takes a tussin. Just drink enough tussin. We're actually going to review the tussin next time. We're going to drink so much green stuff until we puke up green stuff or see green people. You ever heard of that? Like, when I was a kid, there were some kids that would like chug Robitussin. They called it robo-tripping. You ever heard of this? Robo-tripping?
No, I know people would like drink cold medicine or like things that were supposed to be like what's the prescription one? I can't think of it. Codeine, I guess. The people would
Yeah. Do they still
like
do
that's the
that?
one that people abuse and it's a prescription. But like I think there's a little bit of the same things in some of the cold medicines. People would you drink like the whole bottle to get the same effects.
Right.
And yeah, people be throwing up a lot.
Yeah. I know like nowadays it's like pseudoephedrine is the stuff that you can make meth out of or something. And so
all of that is behind the counter now.
Yeah, and regulated and all that kind of stuff. It's, just made
Except maybe not anymore. Just pick it up at your local Girl Scout cookie table.
It is Girl Scout cookie time, or at least it is for us because we got some, Samoas. What are your favorite?
Yeah. I don't know, honestly. Like, not something that would have name recognition. Like, I like Thin Mints, okay. But I'm usually more like some kind of shortbread cookie. They've had some that have been like a shortbread cookie with maybe animals or some shit
or like
on
the
it.
Girl Scout logo or something, I think.
Well, that's the traditional short. Those are good. But then they have some with like a chocolate back is what I'm trying to describe. Those are pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the like peanut butter.
Yeah, those are
the total chocolate wrapped peanut butter ones.
That
maybe sounds right. I don't know.
Okay.
But
well,
yeah,
I like the.
I haven't gotten any this year, so I don't know.
You trying not to be fat?
I wouldn't say that.
No, well, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Well, my official endorsement goes for Samoas. Samoas is what I've called them. But what did I want? Oh, when I was in Hawaii and they were talking about Polynesian peoples and they pronounce it Samoas. Samoas. Not the cookie, the people.
Just different emphasis on different syllables, I guess.
Yeah. And so I'm just trying to be a better me. Okay, so we talked about DeepSeek AI stuff. I mean, do you feel done with that? I would like to try a self-hosted version just to prove to myself that I could do it. But outside of that, that's on a list of projects.
Yeah, I think we should try it and then talk about it more informed.
I could put it on a Hetzner instance, and we can use Coolify, which is something that I've wanted to try anyway for a while. That's a thing. You know what I'm talking about? Okay.
Yes. No, I'm just laughing because you've dropped 2 hype words. Do 3 more.
You're welcome. You can run the DeepSeek R1 models in Olama on Coolify. Uh,
Olama? What is Olama?
Olama's another it's another
Like
one of those
OCaml, but it
LLM
doesn't have the humps.
runners. Yeah, exactly. I feel like I don't remember who released it. It's an open source LLM engine. So
Hmm. I know Meta has like Llama, but it's just called Llama, right?
yeah, that's DeepSeek, I think. All right, well now I'm gonna look it up. Olama,
Mm.
and now I have a camera in front of things, so it's hard for me to see. Get up and running with large language models. So it's not telling you a lot, but you can run Llama 3.3, DeepSeek R1, Phi, Minstrel, Gemma. Who would ever run Gemma? Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly. Google. The answer was Google. So
Yeah,
right.
I know.
It's the enemy. Okay, cool. So we are beyond AI.
Yeah, AI's dumb. All
Yeah.
right.
I think you should just talk about Tailwind because I think you're going to do that for a while. We can talk about Stack Overflow if you
Well,
want, but it's useless.
Yeah, I mean that it kind of dovetails into the AI thing. Is Stack Overflow still relevant? I think with AI and the way things are going, no. Like you don't need Stack Overflow
Yeah.
anymore.
I'm going to say it depends.
Sure.
Do you want to be on there and gain clout and continue that path? Which I think a lot of people do.
I never did that path.
I never
So,
did
no.
either, but people do. So for
Oh,
those
I know.
people, I guess it's still relevant because they're like, let me nerd snipe you or something. Or just tell you you're stupid. I mean, it's like for the old schools, maybe. But otherwise,
know
no.
several people that worked with me very early in my career really cared about that. And I think probably all of those people have much more money than I do. So perhaps there was some weight to doing it at the right time, but I think we've missed that time. Like it's not as important. Nobody looks at it anymore.
Yeah. Like building up a profile there was something that recruiters could look into when they cared about your technical proficiency more than your ability to teach React on the internet or do courses or whatever else. I do feel like there's so much.
If you want some courses, check out wesboss.com. We'll send you a bill later, Wes.
Yeah, that's true. It's still valid. I came across one of his old ones when I was looking up a question around Z Shell and setting up a new computer, and then it linked to his I don't know. I think it's setting up Oh My Z Shell tutorial or command line into I don't know. It was an old ass one. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. So yeah, still valid content out there for all kinds of stuff from Wes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
A jack of all trades.
Lumberjack of all trades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a Canada joke?
I think so. I'm not sure, but I'm going with it.
Yeah. All right.
Tailwind 4. Who gives a shit? Oh, wait. Do we? We might. I don't know. I'm actually going to learn something, too, because I did see the release stuff, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool to check out later, and then I just didn't.
Yeah, so they've had the beta out for a while, and kind of something I'm a little bit scared of, having dealt with ESLint 9. I don't know if you've done anything with ESLint 9 yet.
Mm-hmm.
They totally, I feel like ESLint has had the same configs that I could grok for a decade now, or maybe it hasn't been out for a decade, but, a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And they changed it all to be more composable and native JavaScripty, less magic build step, take your config and decide what happens.
Yep.
And Tailwind has done something similar where their config is just in CSS now. You don't have your JavaScript file. You just say, hey, here's my root, colon root or wherever you would put your variables, and here's I'm going to override these variables, right? So I don't know how that works for, all of the things you could configure before, but it sounds like a lot of them maybe you don't need anymore. You can set the -- spacing variable to a certain amount, and then all of the padding 4, padding 8 will adjust based on what your base is or whatever. So I'm intrigued. I haven't tried it yet myself, but some of the things that it has, I just wrote a little list here. So the builds are 5 times faster.
I mean, that's already very appealing.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't long before,
No,
but that's just because I'm used to old Ember builds. that are slow.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like I think it's a native Vite plugin. Like I don't know if you have to use Vite. I'm guessing not, but like they have a native Vite plugin, so it's like super seamless with that whole thing. And yeah, the incremental builds are 100x faster, I think it said. So like yeah, once it's built, it's basically instantaneous. And there's basically no config, there's no JavaScript anymore. It's just CSS variables, and all the colors are OKLCH, which is super dope.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, well, I'm gonna learn you. So, OKLCH is, I have no idea what it stands for. That would be a fun fact, but it was kind of obscure, and over the last couple of years, it's become more mainstream. It's one of the colors that is supported or supports the P3 color space, which is like, I don't have the stats on it, but like everything before that is like, let's say, 10 million colors, and now it's like 50 million colors or something. And it's like, 50% of the possible seeable color range. And like each time they do a new one, it's like more percent. I don't know. So I don't have the exact numbers, but it's like, it's the nice dope colors that like, if I used OKLCH and you used like normal hex color codes, my site using the same colors would be like more vibrant, and like you could tell it's a different,
Interesting.
if your device supports it. Like all Apple devices support it, but like if you have an old shitty monitor, you might not see any difference.
Yeah, you're not going to see the difference. Interesting.
Yeah, so that's what it's for, and it's like it's been the new standard. It has a lot of math shit in there. Like Adam, when you listen to this episode, you can tell us more about all the math shit and how it works. But it's like you can say like I have this this theme, and I want to have a like somewhat derived from this theme dark theme. So you can like use math on the OKLCH stuff to like invert colors correctly to get like a pretty nice output. So that's all default
you
now.
Update our sites with this, so I can see the difference.
Yes, I will, and we should do a side by side. I'll take a screenshot of both. I bet you can see a difference. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that you have that, which like some people will care, some people won't. If you've been keeping up with the latest CSS, you probably care. I'm hoping that they update the Tailwind VS Code plugin, because I was doing manually setting OKLCH values. Maybe it was in Swatch. I was doing it somewhere. I don't remember where. And if you've ever used Tailwind in VS Code, you get the little square that's like it's this color, because you said like blue 500 and it knows what that is.
Yeah.
But when you set them all to OKLCH, it's like I don't know what OKLCH is, so it doesn't show them. So I hope they fix that in the new thing, since it's the default.
Yeah.
And it supports container queries, which I haven't found a great use case for yet myself, but cool to have. A lot of people love them. Conic and radial gradients. And it just had like linear.
That and you don't know what it means?
What?
Conic
Gradients?
No,
I know what it is. It uses like a cone. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know what you would necessarily need these things for.
Some shit that Adam and Jay
yeah.
do.
The conic gradient is what maybe is, I don't know what the solution actually ended up using that Jay did for us. Thanks, Jay. Where circling the button like draws in the border.
Yeah.
All of the examples used conic gradients, but they were all like 4 colors. So there were like 4 triangles, like the cones, and they like spun, and it looks cool, but I wanted it to be 2 colors, like just increasing amount of blue, like a linear gradient, but circle it. So I was like, conic doesn't like 100% lend itself to that. So I don't know what we ended up with, but it's possible if it is conic that we can use this. So yeah, more gradient stuff. Always good to have options there. Basically, they've like really said we're going to support everything new and cool that's come out in CSS. And they also support starting style, which I also haven't used, but it's like a way to, when you had to animate a thing before from like opacity 0 to 1, or like, or I guess display none to display block.
Yeah.
Something where it's like not there and then it's there. You had to use like JavaScript to like slowly do that. You can, starting style removes the need for that. You can just do that. So it has support for that now too. I don't know that there's anything that it doesn't support or any downsides other than the potentially like weird config that I'm used to being different might be a downside. But
Yeah, maybe. I mean, difference not bad, but my only concerns are if you're upgrading, are there any gotchas? Is there like
they have a
support for everything you
tool,
did
a
before?
migrator that you can run. I don't know how well it works. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if it works great, then no, there shouldn't be any gotchas.
Yeah. I mean, if that does all the work for you, it's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see here. And so this is all, let's see here, depending upon what version of Tailwind you're on. Yeah, if you're on 3, then 4 was published, 4.0.1 was published 3 hours ago. So there's already fixes. It's happening. All right. I think that's all right. I mean, yeah, a code mod.
Yeah,
or
it looks
something
like
that
this
does it.
was published January 22nd, so it's new. Like, I mean, by the time you hear this show, unless you're listening live, it will be old as fuck. But
like 4 weeks.
it's
What are
new
we,
right
4
now.
or 6 weeks on the backlog. I don't know.
I think I can tell you right now,
We could take a vacation.
we are very far behind. So, yeah, the one we recorded last week will come out March 13th.
Okay. So, yeah.
So
That's
we're
not
very
too
far
bad.
behind.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
6
So if you're
weeks or
hearing
so.
this, it's either right now or it's March 20th, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those two things. Unless you're like, guys, I want to see the Wiggle one again. Can you publish it sooner?
Well, the live stuff gets published to YouTube. If anyone ever wants to look at the like not official version, you can check it out still on YouTube under our like live thingy.
Yeah. Live thing.
Tab.
Well, yeah.
Tab is the word.
Highly technical. It's excellent.
Listen, I
All
don't
right.
YouTube.
Yeah. What is YouTube? I YouTube. I just YouTube to watch cooking stuff and food
You
related
consume
things.
YouTube then. You
I
don't
do.
publish to YouTube.
I don't publish to YouTube. I don't even publish this. Let's be honest. I just come
Neither
here
do
and
I.
talk in a microphone that you criticize from time to time, and talk about a little whiskey. But a YouTube consumer, yes, because I just love food content.
Something we should mention for the deep cut fans who are already 37 minutes in, somehow listening to this before the end of March. You want some free React Miami tickets? Is it www.xrrr? Let me see.
What are you talking about?
Or is it the other way around?
Did
the
you get
code.
your ticket? Do you even have
Yeah,
one?
I did get mine. I got mine.
Okay, so I have to say before you say this, make sure.
I forget which order it's in, so hold on. Bear with me. It is all caps www, lowercase x, then all caps RRR. We have 2 free tickets there. Register, come hang out with us in Miami.
So
we'll see
let's
you
be
there.
clear. That is a code that you can enter in, a promo
At
code.
reactmiami.com.
Exactly. And get free tickets. But if you take
Yes.
them, make sure you show up. Don't be that person. Don't be a dick.
Yeah. If you get a ticket,
We'll see.
I'm sure it'll know who did it because I'm sure it'll tell Michelle, like, this is who
that's
used
true.
that code.
Yeah, and we can,
So if
we will
we'll know
find
if you use it and don't come, we will come to your house
will
and punch you in
find
the face.
Oh my gosh, that's aggressive. But we'll have Ken Wheeler.
No, we'll just
punch
be
you in the face.
disappointed in you. We will look at you very disappointedly.
Speaking of Ken, you could stay in his room probably. Like you don't even have to spend money on that either. Just whomever.
Me or whoever goes.
No, whoever grabs these tickets will say we promised them they could stay in your room, and I think it'll come to be. So you just got to get there.
By the time you need to sleep, we can convince Ken that that's fine.
By the time Ken lands in Miami, he will be convinced that you could sleep in his room. I'm willing to bet from past experience.
Did you see that he bought a skate grind rail? Ridiculous.
Listen, and nailed it. But you know what? I refuse to be convinced that there aren't like 6 to 8 other cuts that he didn't make it. I refuse to believe that doesn't exist in some way. So, prove me wrong, I guess.
I guess we should all, well, I mean,
I'm not
I
rollerblading
I
in
will not
Miami.
do
You
any
can, yeah.
skating. Like down to attempt whatever, but like I never could do it in my prime. But still,
Hmm.
like I'm down to clown if we want to like skate some in Miami, but I'm not
What?
gonna be able to do anything impressive.
Skateboard, rollerblade? What are you committing to?
No, bored.
Oh, skateboard. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's not hard. I did some rollerblading when I was in like high school because we actually played roller hockey. So we played some street
Hmm.
hockey and then we played a few games on like blades. And I used to ski and stuff, so it's like not that far off. But I wouldn't say I was proficient. I wouldn't be grinding rails, yo.
Yeah, I could never do anything that required 2 feet to be independently controlled.
Oh, so
Like
no skiing
I
for you.
I can water ski, but I prefer to drop one of the skis and just have the one ski.
Interesting.
So I like wakeboard, wake skate, snow skate, skateboard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Snowboarding is the one thing that has eluded me
Oh,
because
see, I used to do that too.
you steer backwards from all the other ways. Like you
Yeah.
normally would just lean into the front and you got to steer with the back, and I can't. My brain can't change.
No, yeah.
So
It does take an adjustment from skateboarding because you kind of think like, oh yeah, it's like skateboarding, and the balance is like that. But like when you think about catching an edge, essentially is like the number one thing you don't want to do, and the best way to do that is to keep your control edges in the front. So anyway,
yeah.
so I can't interest you in some skiing in the Alps, perhaps next year.
Listen, I'm always down to try. As long as there is no time limit, like that's what screwed me when we went in Canada. We went down this one hill and it was like 30 minutes till the lift stopped running.
Oh,
And I was like, guys, I'm likely to not make it down this hill
Hmm.
before the lift stops running. And that's gonna be really inconvenient and everyone's gonna be pissed. And everyone's like, oh, it's just like I forget the colors, but it wasn't like the easiest
greens or
one.
blues or
Is blue the easiest or green the
blue
easiest? It was
is
like
the easiest, and I think it's green and then
it was a
blacks and
green, I
double
think. So
blacks.
like they were all like proficient at like black, and I was like, "Hey, I can try it, but I don't know how." And then like when you're a noob, they also like make everything really loose. So if you just turn a little bit, your skis pop off immediately.
Yeah.
So I like couldn't cut in at all, and it was just pop, and I would have to like walk across and find my skis like 100 times, and like it's just not
That's
fun.
yeah, that's not going to make it fun for anyone. Well,
But I love the après ski.
oh yeah.
So I'm down. I'm always down for a ski trip. I just can't guarantee how I'll do.
My second college spring break was actually in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, and that's what we did. Is like we skied a bunch. It was warm, like there was nice snow, but it was warm enough where we skied in t-shirts a bunch.
Oh, wow.
And got some sun and stuff, and then we'd spend every night like après ski in the hot tub with beer and stuff. Yeah, it was it's fun. You have and if you're like real crazy, you have a little container of like mint schnapps or something with you. So then if you take a mid mountain break, you can have a little hot chocolate splash of little
Oh.
schnapps in there. It's nice. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, it is funny that skiing is a sport that like one of the greatest times about it in like it's fun, but it's really great when you take those fucking boots off at the end of the day. Yeah.
Well, so yeah, where we went in Canada was Mont Tremblant, and they have one, like their easiest one is what I would want all the time. It's just like super like gradual slope, and you're having fun. There's no excitement to it. It's just like I'm looking at the sceneries. Like it's the one that I could do. And I'm like, I'm cool with that. I don't need anything that's like, oh, it's exciting because it's fast. Nah, dog. I just want to look around and like see, oh, look at these trees. Like
I did always kind of like the grind, like where you could like do these like just deep curves and you're like cutting way across the mountain and you're just like on one ski kind of, and you're just like, I don't know. I always found that really fun.
I did see an Instagram ad for snow skates, and they claim it's a lot easier than skis. And I think whether it actually is easier or not having like my giant skis to like deal with and having them pop off all the time,
Right.
sounds nice.
Sounds
So
appealing.
I might try that next time. We'll see.
Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, in the mountains of Virginia. You do have like what is it? Snowbird or something? No, it's snowshoe or snowbird. There's the one.
Snowshoe and wintergreen.
I think snowshoe is the big one, and snowbird is the one like out in Utah. And I have skied.
Yeah, snowbird it does not ring a bell, so that can't
Yeah,
be near me.
that sounds right. All right. Well, let's talk about my life a little more. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see here. I've got 3
Yeah.
points here.
What is a January transfer window?
Okay. You're going to regret asking this, but I appreciate it. So, twice a year in the summer, it's like for 2 months or so, 2.5 months. And then the January transfer window is in the middle of the European soccer season. And it's an opportunity for teams like to refresh their squad or get something that's been a problem. Like, oh, we've had a bunch of injuries. Now we have this window where we can like sign someone on loan or sell someone. It hasn't worked out or whatever it is. So it's like this 1 month that I am obsessive. Like, it's a time where I get on social media way too much because I'm looking for updates. It's like refresh on like 3
Do
or 4
people have
accounts.
to be? So I know nothing about this. People have to have their contract be up, like be a free agent kind of thing, or
No.
they like buy out the contract, or like
Yeah, so there's transfer fees and things like that. So it's sort of like, let's say, okay, we have a striker, it's not working out. We want to put him on the transfer list, or we're open to offers. So the contract is there, and it's kind of 2 levels. So it's like, one, this player is worth this much for us over this tenure that we have a contract with. So you're going to pay us a fee in order to get an opportunity for us to release that contract. And then you have, you negotiate with the player, but you also kind of know what their contract was before. So you have an idea of like what they're willing to accept, give or take. So then you still pay them beyond.
So
Yeah.
what if the club says yes, but the player says no?
Then it doesn't happen. And
Okay.
that's sort of the catch-22 is like, there are elements of like where they will try to apply pressure. Like, like we're going through this a little bit where we have a player that basically is on high wages, is kind of out with the manager, and technically he could ride out his contract if he wants, but they can kind of freeze him out. They don't play him. I've seen things where in the past where they would like not let them train with the first team anymore. They're like, we want you out, so figure it out.
So you should do what they want usually.
Well, and then the other way around is there would be times where like the club doesn't want to sell, like,
Right.
and another team is kind of coming in or talking to agents, and they can put in a transfer request, which just kind of says, I don't want to be here, and it's public. And so it still doesn't have to happen. It's not a forcing mechanism, but that will trigger for a bunch of people. Well, then, what the hell? Fans will say, sell him. So,
Right. Interesting. Yeah, there's some of that in the college football ecosphere where like they have a transfer portal now, and it's like you can get paid now in college sports, which is crazy. So
Right.
like they transfer all the time, trying to either get play time so that they can go pro and showcase their skills, or like there's a better deal where they can make millions of dollars just playing college ball, so they transfer there or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like impossible. Like you go to a bowl game and everyone just transfers before the bowl game because they're like, I don't want to get hurt. I'm going to this other school, whatever.
Oh, shit.
And then you just get demolished. Like, and it makes your team look
wow.
terrible. So yeah, it's a big mess.
Yeah. I could see where like they opened a can of worms that, to one degree gives players more opportunity, but now like the balance of power is maybe too hard in that. Yeah, because that's fucking crazy. Like, yeah, I understand the whole thing where like I'm trying to go pro or I'm trying to sign this other contract. I don't want to get hurt. On the other hand, it's like, what power does the school have to be like, well, too bad. We're not gonna let you unless you do this thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird system, and I know it's like, if you imagine being an 18-year-old coming out of high school, being a top recruit, and someone's like, "Do you want $1 million to play football at this college?" You would be like,
yes.
"Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
there's
absolutely.
no way I'm not doing that."
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's sort of like, well, I mean, it's as simple as this: is like the lure of free education is just no longer strong enough for that whole exchange of.
They didn't go there to play school.
They did not. They don't typically. I mean, when I was in college, they didn't show up to the classes. Like, we all know what this is. It's kind of like you were able to utilize these athletes for so long to make incredible profit to the
Mhm.
detriment of the education. And so, like, what is it? Like, I, as a student, now have to pay like 500% more than, my dad would have to go to your school because you have to cover your bases on the athletic costs. Like, fuck you. The whole thing is just, I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah.
You know
Want
what
to talk
else is
about
a lot?
what?
It's a tuberculosis outbreak. Like it's the 1700s right now. Did you
Yeah.
see that?
I saw a headline. So, yeah, people are freaking out over this tuberculosis thing. It kind of sounds like polio coming back too. So,
I think
enlighten
it's
us.
it's like a massive. I don't know. I heard for like 1 minute on like the nightly news while I was walking by the TV, but it was like in Kansas, either Kansas or Kansas City, which is maybe not in Kansas, depending on which one. But
Depends.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know, something Kansas City was like they have what they would consider a alarmingly large outbreak of tuberculosis. So I don't know how big that is, but
Yeah.
it's like we that's the kind of thing that's been like eradicated. You have like one and you just like, quarantine that guy and no one has it. So I'm very curious what's going on, but it sounds like if you get it, it's like a 6+ month recovery thing. Like you're basically fucked.
Yeah, your
So
lungs are super fucked up. I mean, Doc
yeah,
Holliday, right? Like the descendants of Doc Holliday are the only ones that are getting this now, you would think, or whatever. That's apparently what he died of. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's a
Yeah, I don't know. I do
respiratory
know
thing or something.
somewhat related, I guess. There's like, I think in humans it's maybe only like 2 or 3 cases, but there's like 15 or 20 like black plague cases in like squirrels and shit like every year. Like how? Like
Because we
when
don't
you
vaccinate.
eradicate a disease, how does it like hide and come back? I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, that is a good point. I don't think all diseases are eradicated. I think that's for one thing, is that
Sure.
they are like kind of compartmentalized and then they just stay in that small circle for infinity. And then however they would have spread in the past, well, if that comes back around and then you no longer have the same protections in place, they could start to infiltrate. So yeah,
Yeah.
something
Well,
like that.
luckily we don't have the World Health Organization to tell us about anything anymore. So
Yeah. Who needs that? I
yeah,
mean, our healthcare is so cheap and good. So
that's true. Yeah,
yeah,
Canada should want to be the 51st state because we have really good healthcare.
yeah, the America's hat.
America's hat. What? Because
Yeah,
it's
that's
above
what I
America.
heard someone say that today. I made this similar joke about the 51st state, tongue in cheek, of course, and I think it's funny anyway. Just like say that the states own the term American since we live on the North American continent and there are
Hmm.
multiple American continents. So how are Americans only from one of those continents? I don't know. I don't really get that, but anyway, 51st day, da da da. And then, yeah, this is a Canadian who said, yeah, America's hat. I was like, that's funny. I like it. So,
I did. I was looking at some of Wes Boss's TikToks earlier, and I thought it was funny. He's like, "Hey, here's all the places that Americans can find me if TikTok goes away, because I'll still be here. I live in Canada, but like,
yeah, that's true. Like, you can still use it. Your government doesn't seem to think it's a problem. I mean, here's the thing, like, conceptually, like, it's the same as all other social media. Like, these are
Mhm.
algorithms intended to, like, I can easily scroll Twitter for an hour plus if I
Oh
just,
yeah,
like, hang out, you know?
yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that Elon and Zuckerberg are like, hey, we need to be the dominant social media. Just fuck these guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
to me, it's obvious that that's what happened. It's not a
Yeah.
national security thing at all.
Like, we
But
don't want to contend with this stuff. We can do a version of it. I mean, it is like short form video. So, what it is not new. Apparently, and I haven't messed with it in just same way I haven't had like meth or cocaine or heroin, right? Like very effective. And apparently their algorithm is just amazing, like
That's
incredible.
true.
And
It is
that's why
much
it
more
works so
addictive.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like they're really good at that and they're focused on the goal and it's happening and they're not
That's because
obscuring
they've been using DeepSeek to code it all.
it. Maybe. I just think like from so my rejection of TikTok has nothing to do with like what's the country of origin. I mean, whatever. Because if that was the case, then like you can't buy half the shit at Walmart either, and like
Yeah. Yeah.
like probably 80% of the stuff, and on Amazon and whatever else. So that isn't necessarily the problem. The problem is this whole idea of watching short form videos is just kind of not for me on one hand, and the other is like I already know how social media can be. So like, no thanks. I'm trying to read more books and like I would rather play more video games, to be honest.
That's
If
true.
so, I'm just like, eh.
Yeah. I keep forgetting about video games. Like, I still have not played any more Tears of the Kingdom, unfortunately.
Oof, that's a shame. I did finally beat it, and then I felt like I'm gonna move on from the Switch, like in general, because I have one of those ROG alleys, and which is like a
Oh,
Steam
what?
Deck. It's
Oh,
like a
okay.
Steam Deck,
I know
but
Steam
it's
Deck.
so same thing, like a handheld interface. It actually runs Windows and has like a bigger screen and like think of it like the
So, like a
OLED Switch
Microsoft
or
Surface
something.
Mini.
Sort of, but it's yeah. Anyway, our ROG is Republic of Gaming. They make a bunch of cool stuff. So, yeah. Okay, using that thing with AR glasses, by the way, is just fucking awesome. So anytime I like, well, as you know, if I'm working remote or something else, and I don't like staring down at a laptop screen anymore. I plug in these glasses that give me a nice size screen and I can like look up and type and like have normal posture and just a much bigger screen in general. So I kind of roll that way. And plugging these things into like a little ROG alley, I mean, it's awesome. It's like having like a nice bigger gaming setup, but just handheld. It's a win-win for me.
Yeah. I do think that's the future. Like, we don't need to have monitors and screens. But
Yeah.
I thought that Apple was going to, like, push that forward, but then that just kind of fizzled out. So,
It turns out like they couldn't subsidize their R&D for $3,000 a pop. I think that's the problem. You just weren't
yeah.
getting enough users. So then what? I got those AR glasses for like $300. Like they don't do all the same things, but they do enough things.
Yeah.
So that means, are you going to get a Switch too?
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you get all the things.
Yeah. I don't, have a giant desire to get one, but I think what could be interesting, when is it going to come out? Do we know?
Yeah, April 2nd, something like that. April.
Oh, soon. I thought it was okay.
Oh, no. And they're probably going to lead with some kick-ass games, which I'm annoyed about. But
so yeah, I don't think I'm going to like line up to get the first one, but like my casual plan was, assuming they're going to continue to support the original Switch for a while, like if it can get to the point where Finn is old enough to play some games on it, he can have that and I can have the new one.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
But
so you'll decide when that point is. Yeah, so they will. Old Switch will still get support for a while, and new Switch will still play old games too, which I like.
right.
So it's like backwards compatible. And
Are the cartridges like the same form factor?
I guess they must be. All I saw was a video, and it says runs old ones and new ones.
Okay. Yeah, I do think like they've got the right system format right now. Like, small cartridge, portable, great on the TV as well. You don't really need to we don't need to introduce more shit like the Wii had, or like we don't need to be we got 8K graphics. Like, we don't need any of that. Just continue to make solid stuff. Give me some more Zelda and Mario and I'll be happy.
Yeah. 8K graphics look really cool, but in reality, I don't care enough to invest in it. Like, I care more about
past what you can see with your eyes at 8K. I think 4K was pushing the limits already.
Was it? Yeah.
I think.
6K,
I don't know.
6K was more about like lighting differences, right? Or something.
Yeah. Like it all looks better, a little bit. Like, you could tell if you lined them up, you can be like, well, that one looks a little better.
Yeah.
But like, I think it's pretty much imperceptible after a certain amount of pixels. Like, it's just, it looks a
Yeah.
little better.
Yeah. And really, for me, like a gaming PC that you have to like work with and have that and the monitor and all the shit for it, or you have something like portable that's still pretty good. Good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the good enough train.
Hey, I had was it PSP? I forget the name, honestly.
Oh yeah, I remember that
I had
thing.
that
I
back
think that
in the
was
day.
right. Yeah. Which was
And
fine.
it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, everyone.
All right. So, what
Do
do
you
we
have
got left on
anything?
this? Silo? You want
We
to
have
talk about
so
Silo?
many things left. So I don't know. I mean, I just finished season 2 of Silo. Have you
I'm
seen
nowhere
this?
close to finishing. I've seen like the first. Where are we at? Let me think. So we're at the. Can I say things that to describe where I'm at without being a spoiler? Probably not.
Try.
Um,
Try.
I'm at the like. Solo is
Okay.
helping.
Just saying Solo tells me that you're in season 2. Okay.
Well, yeah, I'm in season 2, but yeah,
All right.
I'm saying I'm trying to do it without spoiling it for people who haven't seen season 2. So like Solo is helping find underwater things.
Okay. Yeah.
That's where
Like
I'm at.
with the pump thing. With the
Yeah.
foot
So
pump?
it's
Yeah.
pretty. I think it's maybe only like 4 or 5 episodes in, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that's
Um,
accurate.
Yeah, because I have to watch it with Caitlin, and she is pregnant with twins. If anyone has not heard, and she's like, "My God, it is not fun to sit on this couch. I need to sit in like because our bed is adjustable. She can like make it perfectly the shape she wants for support."
Oh,
And
I see.
so she just hangs out there, and I'm like, I'm not gonna watch Silo, this show that I care about like the cinematic qualities of on like our TV that's like this big in our
Yeah.
bedroom. So like I'll wait until you can sit down here and we'll watch the next one.
Okay, that's fair. So we'll just table that. My Tycon is gone because it doesn't charge in Europe natively. Basically, it just won't. Doesn't work. And
Isn't all of power in Europe different? Like because we use alternating current here and they use DC current, right?
exactly. So even you can't just get a plug adapter. There's like so much more.
Like
that
you
goes
just
into it.
you would need like an inverter or a whatever.
Yep. So doesn't
yeah.
work, and I can finish out the lease and not drive it that much, or I can just save that money. And
Did
I
you sell it to
decided-
Jared?
I didn't. I mean, I mentioned to a few people that I was going to get rid of it, and then no, he got a different Audi, didn't he, or something? I forget what he got.
No, he got the Polestar, didn't he?
Oh yes,
and
you're
it
right,
had a
Polestar.
lot of software issues or something.
Well,
so
should have bought a Porsche. I don't know what to say. Alas, condoms. What do you want to say about condoms? You clearly don't use them. Your wife is pregnant with twins. So
yeah, no, I just put it on there. That was like one of the first bullets I put on here just because I saw
that.
it on Twitter and I was like,
it's
that's
like
hilarious.
$50 million to provide condoms for, or I don't
Yeah.
know, some weird budget things being
Yeah,
expressed.
it just makes me think, like, regardless of what you believe and what your, political affiliations are, if that was a true, real budget item of $50 million for condoms to Gaza, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah, I would guess that like $50 million isn't spent every state cumulatively to provide condoms in, I don't know, whatever. What was it like? I guess that might be a Planned Parenthood or something like that.
I
But
think they said it equates to 1,000 condoms per male in Gaza per year.
which
I was
basically means it's bullshit and it's funneling money in for other purposes.
Yeah, so there's either some money laundering or like
yeah.
the thing that even Elon posted about, which I don't know if he posts anything that's true anymore, but like he was like, oh yeah, they like blow up the condoms and they put like explosives in them and float them over into Israel and they blow up or something. And I'm like, if that's true, that's hilarious. But like,
That's a military tactic, I guess. It's
yeah. So it's like, I mean, use what you got, I guess. If we're giving you a bunch of free condoms, make them into weapons. But like, oh yeah. So everyone's like, oh, Biden was just, funding terrorism directly here. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know who to like. I feel like we've hit this point where both sides on the media seem totally plausible.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know what the truth is anymore. And I'm just not going to watch any news or like,
I
it's just
I
gotten bad.
I've got to say I'd say there's a big percentage of truth to that, in the sense of like, you just can't believe what you're hearing necessarily directly. Anything that has supporting evidence, I'm willing to look more at, and I just don't trust any of them anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
there's
This
a lot of
episode
money
is
to be made in
sponsored by
Congress, and yeah,
the Italian Tourism Department.
yes. Well, first of all, they have their own political issues, but if you're going there to just live a good life, here's the thing: Diet Coke is illegal there, and that must tell you something. Okay, I'm loading up on cancer
Yeah.
agents right now, but
And somehow,
eventually,
the thing that blows my mind is like I don't know, a quarter pounder, something at like McDonald's, right?
yeah,
Is not
Royale with
like
cheese.
way more expensive. It's like comparable price.
Yep.
But I know that they're not allowed to put all the chemicals and shit in there. So
Sure.
like, why can't we have nice things?
Because it's a matter of margins and shareholder value and whatever else. I mean, here's the thing: Coca-Cola doesn't have high fructose corn syrup pretty much anywhere else. Yet, I mean, why is it better for you to serve it to your own citizens with that in it? If there's all
It's like
these
a third
other,
of the price. I know that from what's it called? The Food That Built America. They
Right.
realized they could make 3 times the money by using high fructose corn syrup. So they
Right.
did.
And then they did, and then other countries said no, and until we say no, they'll keep doing it. But they'll never say no as long as we subsidize corn and soybeans. And it's like, do you see where
That's true.
there's like this rippling effect to all kinds of things? It's sort of like the original intentions about so many different policies created 50 to 100 years ago have been exploited at this point. So at some point where you rescind those policies, I mean, foreign aid, right? Foreign aid had a big thing post World War II to help rebuild these communities, and now foreign aid is a vehicle for political use to get, countries on your side. Uh, Subsidizing farms had everything to do with depression, getting out of the depression. Grow these things we can sell. We're going to subsidize this. We're going to help you. Da 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 da. Now farms are owned by corporations, like a heavy percentage. Billionaires, millionaires have stakes in farms, creating them as companies because this guaranteed income that comes in from the government.
Yep.
That
You
they
get
can-
paid to throw all your corn away,
Yeah, they'd rather
which is
that
ridiculous.
than like be self-sustaining and growing crops that can be consumed right within the United States. So the global economy, maybe there's a fallacy to that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, on that note,
That's the perfect pin to put in this one.
yeah, there's a lot I could say about all of that and continue this, but we're 8 minutes over time already. So
Yeah, my
anything you want to
agent
plug,
will,
Charles William Carpenter III?
Yeah, I would love to plug the EPL. I would love to plug Manchester United. They're down but not out. And
Or is that a tennis
yeah, it's
team?
yeah.
Yeah.
If you like tennis,
Okay.
go to manutd.com.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, everybody. Catch you next time.